Now, to talk more about it is House Financial Services Committee member, Congressman Roger Williams of Texas. Congressman, it's good to see you. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks for having us, Maria. It's a great day.
Yeah, we have a lot to talk about. We want to get into taxes. But first, let me get your take on Jay Powell. Is he the right man for the job, head of the Fed?
I think no question. I've had some relationship with him. I think he's the right guy. I think President Trump's made a really good choice.
Well, what about the choice on tax reform, sir? In a matter of hours, we will get our first look at the Republican tax plan. Will it address the concerns that many in our own, in your party have been saying about cutting state and local tax deductions and 401k contributions?
Well, there's a lot of issues. I mean, look, I've been very supportive of tax reform since I've got up here. I'm a Main Street guy, and we need tax reform to let this big engine of Main Street and small business begin to make money again. But there are some issues. There's these pay-fors that are talked about, and there's the SALT provision, which you bring up. I have a concern about interest deductibility for small businesses that carry inventory. So there's still a lot to look at. We're going to see it at 9 o'clock to begin to have the dialogue. But once we see it, I think it's going to be a parameter, and then we can start negotiating on some other things like that.
We've got Don Peebles in the studio today, and he basically said he's a real estate developer in New York, among other places. But he said we're going to see a mass exodus of people in New York because you're basically eliminating that state and local deduction, which would ultimately mean a tax increase, certainly for the highest earners, if you're keeping the highest rate at 39.6.
Well, it might be, and of course I'm from Texas, so I would just say we'd welcome everybody to Texas where we have no personal income tax.
That's right, and that's it. And the states, congressmen like yours, that manage itself well and don't impose a state income tax on its residents will receive significant benefit, which I think will be great for helping rebuild Houston as well. What do you think about that?
Well, I mean, we've seen it actually. When I was Secretary of State of Texas, we saw, and we still see a lot of people from California coming to Texas because we do have, we think, the best business environment there is. So there's a lot of opportunities there. But this tax reform plan is needed. I've called mine Jumpstart America. I think that's what the president ought to call it, to get America going again. And the rates are going to be good. We don't know what the brackets are. But just the fact that we've been talking about tax reform up here, look what the markets have done. You report on them every day. Just think what they do if we do something and get it done.
Well, you sound awfully confident, Congressman. Just think of what happens if y'all foul this up in the markets. What happens to the market?
Well, you're right, but I don't think we will. To be honest with you, I've been one of those that has had some concerns. My main concern, again, as I said, has been interest deductibility. I think we've had an open process, and I think we'll get a lot of these things done. But we're going to get tax reform done. It's important. We all ran on it, and we need to, because America has got the greatest economy in the world. By lowering these taxes and getting people where businesses can make money, as you all know, businesses don't save, they spend, they hire more people, they buy more product, and so we need to get it going. I believe we'll get it done as we talked about.
Hey, Congressman, Don Peebles again. One other thing that, and this has to do with the new Fed chairperson, is the great news about Texas. It's a pro-business state. It's a state that is not imposing heavy regulations on its businesses, no state income tax, and other activities that stimulate economic growth, which is why Texas has been one of the leaders, not just nationally, but globally in terms of economic growth. How do we do that with this combination of tax reform and regulatory reform so that we can free up small businesses to spend money and reinvest in our economy and not send it up to Washington, D.C.?
Well, I've been in business 47 years, and of course regulations have choked Main Street America. We've just all been playing defense, and of course one of the biggest regulations we've had was the Dodd-Frank, the CFPB. We passed the Choice Act out of our committee and out of the House. It's over in the Senate right now to begin to dismantle that. Huge regulations kept community banks and small businesses from growing. So those are the kind of things we need to be doing. You couple it with real tax reform, jump-starting America. I think you're going to see risk and reward, something that people can build on now. We didn't used to be able to do that. We were playing defense. So this is a great time for tax reform. President Trump's right on by promoting it. We got to get it right, though. We got to get it right for the middle income and Main Street, and that's what we'll be doing the next couple of weeks as we have further debate on this.
Well, you keep saying you've got to get it right for the middle income. My question is, what about the fact that the highest earners pay all the tax? So you're actually cutting taxes on people that don't pay taxes? I mean, the top 10% in terms of earners pay 70% of the tax.
Well, and I agree with you, and I'm not one of those that thinks we need a fourth bracket. I think if you're going to have tax cuts,
but you've got it. You've got a fourth bracket now, 39.6.
But we talked about earlier bringing it down from 39 to 35, and I think you can't penalize the higher income people, Maria, because as you know, those people, in many cases, are the ones that
Right.
create the jobs, which we want to
But that's the
want to
thing,
put out there.
James Freeman, they are. But that's the thing. I mean, Congressman, you're agreeing with me, but that's what you're doing, right?
Well, go ahead.
I guess I just want to ask you, you seem very focused on economic growth. Your House colleagues seem to understand this is about job creation. It's about getting out of that rut, the sort of Obama new normal of roughly 2% growth. But I get the feeling in the Senate, your colleagues don't really get it so much. They're looking at this as kind of a bill to put all of their favorite credits in to help certain constituents. Are you worried about this?
Well, I am worried. I'm always worried about what comes out of the Senate. But I think if they'll take this bill, once we fine-tune it, it will work. And I'm not. We're talking. There's a lot of people talking about a phasing in the 20% corporate tax rate. We don't need to phase it in. Let's put it in there. Let's let business grow. Let's let business take risks, get reward, hire
Right.
people, put people to work. I mean, that's what it's all about.
Yep.
And we don't need to just get our foot wet. Let's jump in and create a tax environment that's good for not only us but the world.
Yeah, we'll see. We're waiting. We're going to see the plan at 11 o'clock. You're going to see it at 9. Congressman, we will talk again. Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you again.
Congressman Roger Williams joining